and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katja, I'm your host, and today with me,
Barbara
and
Natalie.
Dear listeners, we would like to ask you for a little bit of a favor. So if you don't mind helping us a little bit, could you please subscribe to our pages on Apple, Yandex, any platform where you listen to our podcast, and let us know what you think about our show. You can rate and review our podcast, give us stars, leave some comments, ask questions, and even send your ideas about next episodes. So what do you want us to talk about? What do you want to listen to? So please let us know how we can become even better and more interesting for you. Because that's what we want to do, right? We want to be interesting for our listeners. So, and ladies, have you been up?
Pretty good. I mean,
enjoying
It's been
the
hot.
sun.
I mean, your hair is so long and you're really hot.
I know.
Look what I have to do with my hair. Just stick it to the side.
Yes, probably have to flip them up.
How do you deal with that? That's true.
It's hot.
I don't know. I remember when I
just suffer.
Yeah, I actually just suffer. Yeah.
It's worth
That's
it.
the solution. Yes, I don't know. Probably.
You would look cute with long pigtails, so you put them up here. And,
I would look, I don't know, pretty stupid, I guess.
No, I don't think so. I think that's
You can put, like a bun on
yeah.
top.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
All sorts of things.
Oh yeah,
French
I did
braided.
sometimes when it's really hot. But I don't know, I feel more comfortable with just
Free and easy.
Have you ever had, like braided hair?
Or, like,
Especially,
shaving hair.
around the head or like to the side.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
I don't know. I think it would look weird on me.
Oh.
I've never been able to do that, to be honest, because, when I was a kid, my mom used to do that. And I could never,
same.
I admire girls who can actually, braid their hair, like especially in those beautiful styles. Because all I can do is a ponytail. Like, that's all I can do. And not even with this hair length. I'm like, no.
Oh, not even a ponytail, really? You can't?
No, not yet.
Oh.
It's like a mini ponytail then. Not even a proper
cute.
tail.
Okay.
Yeah, so do you have any plans for the summer now that it's finally here?
Like, not much. Not really. What about you, Barbara?
Not much. Not really.
Going to the zoo, to parks, to the beach?
Yeah, maybe. What about you?
I mean, I have a list of things I want to do. But I mean, I've been to the zoo. So I went there, I think a couple of weeks ago to look at the animals. They're so nice. And I had an opportunity to go there during the week and not at the weekend. So there were no people. Really, no crowds, healthy social distancing, because again, not many people. So it was so nice to look at everyone, to look at all the animals, especially the polar bears. I love them.
They must feel really hot now.
Well, I mean, they have cold water, and usually they have every 15 minutes you see ice just falling onto them, like a huge pile of ice. Yeah. So they have plenty of ice, and they usually
great.
just jump into the water, doing all sorts of their bear things. So
They're a funny shape. They have this kind of thick, long neck like an anteater.
Right,
And a
yes.
long
Yes.
snout.
they're just so big and beautiful. So I've been to the zoo. I've been trying to walk and work less, and I have even made a very serious and important decision of not having classes on Saturday and Sunday and having proper weekends, to actually enjoy the summer. I feel proud of myself.
That's a good decision.
Yeah, look at me being not a workaholic at all.
Whoa.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've started doing is I got obsessed with this idea of reorganizing my wardrobe and my kitchen drawers, and everything like that. So a couple of days ago, I went to IKEA to buy all sorts of, containers, things like that. So I'm going to spend this weekend reorganizing everything.
Oh, wow. Sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, trying to make my apartment look cozier and more, functional maybe, more convenient to work with and cook and whatever. Yeah. So, and actually, I wanted to ask you about your place. So, since we're talking today about, accommodation and housing, so what about a place where you're living? Do you like it?
I love where I live. I love where I live because it's very efficient and very bug-free. Because I come from the South, and I'm embarrassed to say, but I've had cockroach infestations. And it's really,
You mean in this apartment?
In the South. I mean, I'm talking about in the United States,
Oh, okay.
the Southern.
God.
So I'm used to living with bugs.
Oh, wait.
And here, I don't have any.
I remember, those 2 times in my life when I saw a cockroach in the US, and I could not believe that was a cockroach because those are monsters. Like, they're so big.
It depends on where you are. And in the South, they're huge and they fly. And they're very intelligent. One time I was sitting eating a peach, and this big cockroach came out because I set the peach down, and he wanted it. And so I said, no, you can't have it.
And he just took it and went away.
No, he went under the wall where there's a crack. He turned around and waited. And I looked at him and go, you are smart. So I had to respect him. He was really smart.
So we're talking about Georgia right now.
Yeah, Georgia. In the deep South.
So let me just cross out Georgia out of the list of places.
Not the flying cockroaches.
Okay. Great. So I've already crossed out Texas out of my list because of the, the heat and the snakes. So, and other, fauna. So I guess Georgia goes on the same list.
So when I came here, I go, where are all the bugs? And they're
You know what's funny though?
Nice.
Do you remember Mike?
Yes.
So when so Mike used to teach here. He's from Australia. He used to teach here like last year and 2 years ago, I think. So and he said that he used to live on the 16th floor, and he said that one thing he missed about Australia is having all the life, like insects.
I remember.
And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Look, my place is dead. There are no bugs, no cockroaches, nobody." I'm like, "Say thank you." So I was so shocked about him saying that.
I thought I was going to be weird if I said anything, so I didn't say anything. But now that Mike said that, it is true because I had to save a little insect. An insect did appear like last spring sometime.
Oh, you still cherish this moment?
And I did, and I fed the little thing. He was on his deathbed, but I cared for him. And finally he did croak. But it is, when it is sterile, you crave some kind of life form.
No, I don't. Yeah. I don't. I'm pretty satisfied having no bugs, nothing like that. I have the sparrows, outside that I feed, and they're adorable, but not the insects. Thank you very much.
Maybe, I don't know, some people consider them pets. Or
pets?
Yeah. I mean, have you ever looked at their faces under a microscope? I mean,
no,
only a mother can love. They're incredible. Yeah, one time I was at my my vet, and she said, "Do you want to see the lice under the?" Or no, it was what was it? What do they get? Flea.
Flea.
And I said, no. And she goes, please. And so she made me, and I thought, wow, that is incredible. And then I Googled their faces. Google microscopic bug faces.
I'm not sure I want to.
Oh, incredible.
So they're they're cute, so they're fluffy.
Well, they're different. Every single one is different.
Human faces are different.
Not human, no.
I mean, our faces are different and so are theirs.
Yeah, sometimes they have something sticking out here and sometimes something there and different things. You got to do it.
So wait, what floor do you live on?
20th.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. Because if you lived, let's say, on the 4th, the 3rd, the 5th, maybe, you would have plenty of things, especially moths, things like that. When you don't have a net on your window and then in the evening you have the lights on, you have plenty of guests, plenty. And then you just try to get rid of them and you can't.
Oh God, I remember when I was living in Thailand. So I lived on the 1st floor and the apartment was it was an old building and they were like, oh my God, okay, I'd better not mention
Did you have a lot of centipedes, the ones that have hundreds of legs and move way too fast?
Exactly. But also I had, a lot of different insects and I don't even know how to call them in Russian, English, in any language, really. So also...
I would just call them the creatures.
Yes.
Like the umbrella term for all of them.
Yeah, good term. And I had even rats there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
not
they can get big too. Have you ever seen really, really big
It's
rats?
scary.
Like cat sizes.
I mean, in Thailand, it's a big problem because there are rats in the streets everywhere. So I'm not sure why, but yeah.
Yeah, garbage, and they need to live somewhere.
Yes,
And they like
exactly.
the water too.
Yeah. So, Papa, you live on the 20th floor. Is it like a studio or a...
Yeah, it's a studio. And so I have space to do a little bit of exercise. And that's what I like. I like a lot of space in at least one room. And then if I were to have anything I wanted, I would have another room really cozy. I like cozy. I like shelves with my knickknacks on them, books, something comfortable, lace curtains. I love lace curtains.
Yeah, they look cute.
Natalie, what about you? What kind of...
Now I'm kind of in transition because I'm going to take the mortgage. And I
Oh, look at you adulting.
Yes, I know.
You're officially an
So
adult.
weird, really. So and I've decided to take a studio too, but I don't know, like I'm chosen for now.
So what floor are you considering?
I don't know, because like I've always loved living on the first floor. So for example, my parents, they have a house, and I really love, having a lawn and having, I don't know, some trees in the garden. So you can actually like walk out, like sit on the lawn under the sun, just enjoy it, But I don't know. So maybe, but I also like living in the high, like somewhere on the 20th floor or something like that.
I've always been thinking about people living on the first floor because, especially if that's like an area where a lot of people are walking by, because a lot of people attempt to kind of like, to peek, into people's places. I would feel very uncomfortable, knowing that there are people walking around. I don't know.
Yes, I do. The peeking.
I feel like it's something uncontrollable, and you're just tempted
But you
to
never
just
see anything though. When I peek, I can't see anything. Even if I stand there and really observe, trying to find more.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I pass by some places, and I know that if I were to look inside, if the curtains were not, like if there weren't any curtains, I would see a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So yeah. Wow.
So when you said a mortgage, I was thinking of a house, but you're talking about apartment.
But an apartment here for now.
So we call this a condo.
Yeah,
You're a condominium.
Yeah. I mean,
you will be a
just
condominium
condo,
owner.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
Maybe later it will be a house, but for now it's just sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask you then. So you've just said a condo. So what's the difference between a condo and an apartment?
The difference is that someone owns that one apartment, and that person can live in it or rent it out. So I actually live in a condo. It means that someone else may own the building, but you own the apartment.
Yeah. So that's what about the apartment then?
Then if it's just an apartment, you're just renting it from a a company, whoever owns the building.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah.
So let's say if if there's like a separate block of flats that is owned by a company and you rented it, I thought that that's a condo.
Right. No.
So
if you're renting it, you're a
apartment.
renter. It's an apartment. Yeah.
So let's say, because we're used to calling like just, if it's an apartment, I mean like, it's, it has like several rooms or something. So we would just call it an apartment as a place where we live. So we just used to doing that. We're used to calling that an apartment and not a condo. And I've seen words like in Russian saying condo in a new building, which is kind of like, only apartments for
Yeah, so that means
rent.
you can go in and buy one apartment.
Yeah, but what if you buy... I am so confused.
Okay,
with
so you
this.
can buy
I'm
3
so
apartments.
confused
You
now,
could
really.
still be, you could have as many as you want. You just can't buy the building unless the building's for sale.
Yeah, so that's... Oh, God, that's so confusing.
It's not confusing
This-
to me.
Really?
Yeah, I just usually call everything an apartment.
Yeah, same. Yeah, but actually in Thailand, they used to call it condo too. So I don't know, maybe it was because of this explanation or they just didn't know the term. I don't know really. So yeah, but I used to live in this condo, I guess, now, as we call it.
So, and are you renting right now?
No, now actually. So I've decided for summer to move back to my parents. And so just because, again, as I've mentioned before, the lawn, all this stuff. So big house. So it's pretty kind of cute,
All right. Yeah. And I'm going to call it an apartment, I guess. for the sake of the listeners' understanding too. Because last year I used to rent a 1-room apartment with windows facing Krasny Prospekt. And 0 out of 10, do not recommend it. Because every day, unless it was winter, I heard all night long. God, I hated it. All the motorcyclists at night. You should sleep at night.
I've been in that situation too. I was living in a condominium about a quarter of a mile from the Pacific Ocean. So this was Hermosa Beach. And I thought, I'm going to be a beach baby. And so I rented this condo right on Pacific Coast Highway. We call it PCH. And it was so noisy.
Yeah.
I couldn't last. I had to move after a few months.
Yeah, well, I lasted almost a year, actually, even though the summer there was so horrible. It was so hot. You can imagine it's just one room. So, it's the sunny side. So the sun is always there. So it heats up like an oven. So I had a fan on like constantly, almost 24/7. I was sleeping, with a wet blanket on top of me. I would just like, or just something like a t-shirt. I would, put it in cold water, put it on top of me.
Oh, my mom used to, way back, in those days where without air conditioning, she would put ice in a bucket and put that in front of a fan.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this. Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard about that. Wow.
Ice, of course, makes the air colder.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so try that if you ever in that situation
luckily I moved out of that apartment. And when my landlord asked me, so why are you moving out, if I may ask? And I said, look, I was offered an apartment, a condo to rent for the same price, but it's 2 rooms. It's a living room and a bedroom. So I had a real bedroom and a real living room. Wow. What a luxury for the same price. And the funny thing is that it's the building that I'm currently living in. It's right across the road, but with windows, facing the yard. So all I see when I look out at least from the kitchen and the living room is trees. And I think they kind of absorb the noise as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they do.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why that side is so quiet. There was one thing that I had to get used to, that my bedroom, basically that side is like 15 meters away, like 20 meters away from a railroad.
Oh, I love the train.
I love the train when it's a passenger train, but the cargo trains, they make way too much noise. And, very often they use, like the toot-toot, and it's so loud. And I'm like, oh, what? Yeah, during the night, I'm like, okay, that's a train. But it took like 2 weeks to get used to that. So now it's okay. But the no motorcyclists.
At least.
The quietness. And it's cooler in here because, only one side. So only the bedroom is on the sunny side. And, the sun is there in the morning.
So you've got the easterly direction facing east.
I think so, yeah.
Because what's a really good direction to face is the south, because you get the southern exposure. So you get a side angle of the sun rising and a side angle of the sun setting. The southern exposure. That's the best. I always look for the southern exposure.
I'm trying.
The north makes the apartment too dark and gloomy and depressing, and I can't handle it. So I'm so happy that I'm really facing the east. So I've got the hot sun, but still, I like the brightness. And then when the sun goes down in the west, it reflects on the buildings that are across the street.
Yes,
so I get west sun too.
Oh,
so it's nice and bright and cheery. That's what I need.
Yeah. I mean, we have kind of a dark living room, but that's for the better because that's where I work, and it makes it a little bit cooler, because if that was hot, it would be unbearable, really. Yeah. So wait, so what about types of accommodation? So we have an apartment and a condo, which are very confusing. So then we have what other types do we have?
cottage.
A cottage, which is, unlike in Russian, a small house. Because in Russian, it's a big house.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah. Oh, well, then even smaller would be a bungalow. I've lived in a bungalow before.
You lived in a bungalow?
Yes, very small bungalow. Aww. And then I lived in a little in some kind of structure above a carport in West Hollywood. And someone came to my little structure, and they thought it looked like a storage bin. So I started referring to my apartment as a storage bin.
Oh my goodness.
And also I've lived in a single wide trailer for 5 years.
A trailer?
A trailer, definitely. And it was really good because it was what we call a roommate plan. And that means that one bedroom is on one opposite side of the other. And so you have a lot of privacy. And I had of course I was raising my daughter. So she got on one side, she had her bedroom and her own bath. And on the opposite side, I had my bedroom and bath. And in the middle is the living room.
Can you tell us more about that? So was it, because when I hear, about trailers, I imagine something like a trailer park or something like that, when there are like a lot of trailers.
There are such things as a trailer park, and you've probably seen them all lined up with a little tiny garden or picket fence or something small. But there are also rural areas where you'll have like dirt roads, gravel roads, and then these little pockets of trailers in this area. And so this trailer was on 1 acre. It shared it with another trailer, the owner. And then across was where my mom lived. She lived in the trailer on 2 acres or something. And so there's a difference between a single wide and a double wide. And I'm sorry, I got to put on an accent here because this is the rural people down in the South.
Yeah, I was like, wow, Barbara suddenly got the
double
accent.
wide, and they've got the guns and dogs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's that kind of rough kind of area.
Sounds I'm
interesting.
sorry for like being stereotypical, but sounds really Southern.
Yeah, and it does sound stereotypical too, because when I moved there, we have this expression trailer trash, and so it's not very nice. It means trailer trash is like trashy people who don't keep their area. So that's kind of being prejudiced. That's not very nice. So I moved there, and there'd be a barrel where you're supposed to put your trash in, and somehow wouldn't get into the barrel. And so, trailer trash, I get it now. So these people are trailer trash. Yeah, really, really messy. They're out in the boondocks. Nothing really matters. Yeah, real.
And what about the time when you lived in Hollywood, you said?
Yeah, that was West Hollywood.
So, because I had one thing about this, like LA in general, LA area and Hollywood area, is that it's impossible to find a place to rent over there. Like,
this was in the 1980s, and I found this little place that was only like $350 a month. So it was very cheap.
Which would only be possible in the 1980s, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, it was even cheaper.
I'm pretty sure now they would charge like, $1,500 for that.
Oh, yeah.
For that same thing.
Still there.
Wow. So these things and trailers, and how do you call I need your help with this. So how do you call a house for 2 families?
Oh, well, you mean a duplex?
Oh, yeah.
A duplex, yeah.
I
think they call it like semi-detached house in Britain or something.
Maybe they do. But semi-attached, doesn't that mean that there's some kind of alleyway between them, or there's some kind of space between them? But a duplex shares a wall.
Yeah, I think semi-detached house shares a wall too. So I think I had a feeling that duplexes are quite widespread in the U.S. At least I thought that in Massachusetts I saw a lot of buildings, that like one house for 2 families.
You could call those duplexes, but then you might call it a townhouse, because if they're taller and scrunched in together, yeah.
What's the difference then between a townhouse and a duplex?
I think it's its own structure, but really set close to the next one. I'm not sure.
So let's say if that's 2 houses, but they are basically like, together, but it's like 2 buildings. So then it would be a townhouse?
That might be one definition of a townhouse. But when I think of a townhouse, I think of narrow and taller. And they're stuck together. But a duplex can be wider in my experience. I mean, that's what I've seen. But I think it just depends on
so many terms.
Yeah.
So many terms. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So, and tell me, what in general do you prefer, rural area or urban area? Barbara, you've lived in both.
Yeah. I would say that I don't like the pollution and the noise of the city, but living 20 floors up, it's quiet. So I don't really have any complaints with that. But with the rural area, you get that fresh air. I do miss the foliage. I really miss the greenery and the trees and the birds and the raccoons and the possums. Oh, yeah, I miss that.
You miss raccoons? Really?
Raccoons, oh, yeah. Because I put out food for the cats. And so the raccoons would come with their little masks.
Little thieves.
Yeah. And they'd eat.
Have you ever had a problem with skunks?
No, I wish I could attract a skunk. I wanted to have a skunk, but
Why would you want to attract
because
one?
I love animals. That's why.
That's not the kind of animals you
but
would
there was
like
a
to.
tortoise that came by one day, and I had to get a friend say, "Hey, you've got to get this tortoise back into the water." So he took it and put it on his truck and took it to the water again. A big one, a big one.
Aww.
Got lost somewhere.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've never seen a skunk, and I don't want to. But yeah, in Massachusetts, in the area, I heard that sometimes there were raccoons. And yeah, it was mostly, bunnies running around.
What about an owl? Have you ever seen an owl in a tree?
No, never.
Maybe not.
Although when I was working at a secondary school, we once had a situation when a baby owl just smashed into the window. So apparently it was trying to learn how to fly. So my students picked her up, wrapped it in a towel, called the zoo and said like, okay, we have a situation. We have a baby owl. Can we bring it to you? And they said, oh yeah, please do. So apparently it lives there now.
Oh,
So
That's cute, but it was in Irkutsk.
No, it was here in
was
Novosibirsk.
here?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Where I lived before I came here was in a quiet little town, and across from the road was a church, and the church had a donkey, and so sometimes you'd hear this hee-hawing, and I didn't.
They can be so loud.
Yeah, they really can. And so when I was hearing these hee-hawings, I thought, okay, those are the geese flying over, because I didn't know they had a donkey. I said, boy, those geese really sound like donkeys. And finally, I saw, oh, there is a donkey over there. So I am the church, and I wanted to make sure. I asked them, does your donkey have toys? Is your donkey happy? How are you taking care of him? And it turned out that he was very happy. He did have toys, and it was a church, so there were a lot of people around.
Yeah. Actually, since we're talking about animals, a week ago, for the first time in my life, I saw a hedgehog let's say in the wild. So not, in a cage or something in a zoo, but in the wild. And the thing is that I've never seen them. And there are some at my mom's dacha, and sometimes she sends me pictures. And every time in the evening, I'm coming, to the toilet or something, I'm hedgehog, where are you? Come here. And please. So, but my mom sends me pics. I'm like, how come that you see him and I don't? So we were driving on an empty alley, and my mom and my sister were like, oh, look, a hedgehog. I'm like, where? And they're like, we've passed him. Like, look into the back window, like rear window. And I'm like, I don't see him. So she went back, she drove back, stopped so I could, step outside and have a look at the hedgehog. It's so cute.
So you're talking about hedgehogs. That reminds me of a big hog that appeared one day in my yard when we lived in the single wide. And it was a big old hog. And I said, Emily, there's a hog out here. And so soon enough, like a 12 or 13-year-old boy came up, and he was trying to get his hog back home. It was a pet pig. And he couldn't control the pig. The pig just wanted to do whatever pigs do. And he goes, if you don't come, I'm going to tell Mama on you. Meaning his mother. Like his mother was going to come out and say, Pig, you better go home.
You better go home or you're going to turn into a barbecue.
Oh, that's a good Southern accent.
Unintentional. So what would you say was the best accommodation you've ever had?
I think it was in Thailand, probably.
So what was so good about it?
It was on the 12th floor, I guess. And it was like, the design was really, really nice. The interior was like all white. And it was also a studio, I guess. But it was kind of divided in two parts. There was kind of a living room and a bedroom, kind of. So, and there was really beautiful view from the window. And also they had a roof with, some kind of ponds, and a lot of trees. And
so you could go and relax there.
Exactly, I did. Almost every day.
I have a question. So when we talk about, let's say, best accommodation is something, can we count like hotels or hostels, things like that too? Or is it out of the picture? So are we only talking about like long term?
I think we're talking about long term, probably.
All right.
Yes.
So just staying for a couple of days will not count.
I mean, I think you have a story.
I'm open for it. Yeah, if you want to talk about a hotel.
No, I'm just curious. When we talk about accommodation, do we only talk about long term or short term?
No, accommodation to me is a short term thing. That word to me is short term.
So, and housing would be a long term.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Accommodation. What are the accommodations?
So, all right.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Okay, Barbara.
Okay, tell us.
Best.
Oh, see, I don't know. I will say this. I always make wherever I live a home. I always will find something to make it the best place I've ever lived. But I guess growing up, we lived in this house in Palo Alto. Palo Alto is the reciting town of Stanford University. Had a lot of beautiful houses there. And my mom rented this house that no one wanted to live in because it only had one bathroom. And families love more than that. So we got this little house and just had the honeysuckle outside my bedroom window. It had these two tallest pine trees in all of Palo Alto, historic pine trees in my front yard. And it was just kind of a wild backyard. And so I just have those memories of just being out and feeling free to go out into the yard.
So it's this is in California then, Stanford?
In California.
Aw. I've always wanted to have, like a cool backyard, with I don't know, bushes or trees or something like that. So you would open the window and, I used to want to live in a place which had, this ivy. Can you imagine those old historical buildings? Until a friend of mine who used to live in a house like that and work in a house like that in Britain said that this ivy has a lot of spiders' nests in there. And I'm like, thank you so much. I will never live in a house with an ivy on it then. Ever in my life.
Beautiful, definitely.
Okay, well, speaking of ivy, in Palo Alto, there'd be a lot of ivy. And I didn't hear anyone complaining about ivy. Of course, the spiders were there, but they lived in the ivy. They didn't want to come in. They didn't bother anybody.
They would bother me, like just being
just
there.
knowing their existence. They were having families and eating and doing what spiders do.
No.
What about daddy long legs? Those are completely.
No, they're still spiders to me. So still, I hope they will.
You just don't like their legs.
I don't. So I am terrified of spiders. Afraid is not even enough of a word. I'm terrified of them. So every time I come to my mom's dacha to help, I see a lot of them because they live in the ground. So, and to me, no matter what kind of a spider that is, daddy long leg or, those horrible with, just horrible, all of them horrible. Because I think you can't, a creature with 8 legs and 8 eyes is way too unnatural. You can't trust a thing. All the insects, the wasps, no matter how annoying they can be when they try to sting you, they have 2 eyes. And that's natural.
So it's all about eyes.
All about 8. That does not sound. That doesn't. No, I don't. You can't trust a creature with 8 eyes. That's what I believe. So I don't want to live anywhere near. So that's why I like living in Siberia, and that's why I like living in Massachusetts. Because there are no, spider. Well, sometimes occasionally you would see, like a little spider, something like that. But no huge spiders or something like that, which is why I will never set foot in Australia. Even if you pay me, no, thank you. No. That's why when I'm thinking like, okay, let's say if I want to live in the United States, what states would I consider? And I'm like, okay, Google, what states have a lot of spiders in there? Like, cross them out. And too hot also. So yeah, probably not like Arizona because of the heat. Probably not Georgia because of the heat. Yeah. So, yeah. But maybe, northeast then or northwest. Something to the northern side, yeah. All right, I've been thinking about my best accommodation / housing. And it's hard. I think.
You mean imaginary or?
No, I mean the one that I've actually stayed in. I could only think about well, that's going to sound fancy, of my 3 days staying in a Marriott hotel in Washington, D.C., which I also didn't pay for because it was Fulbright conference.
Oh.
And Fulbright just, housed all of us at Marriott Hotel, all
Not
400
bad.
all 400 of us.
Wow.
So we were staying there in the center of, Washington, D.C. I felt, I've never felt so important. Because I'm like, I'm traveling to DC to a conference and Fulbright pays, for my tickets, for my staying in a hotel. Yeah, I think that was, even though, technically there's nothing special about a hotel room, but I think it was the very fact, of being there and staying in the center
I
of.
understand.
Yeah, especially if you get one of those, what are they called? Dark lights, blue lights, ultralights, that you turn off the light and you flash this ultralight, and you can see all the blood stains, human stains, and all the.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
No. I would not like to see
I've
that.
seen plenty of crime shows like that, and
Oh,
that's why I don't like motels or hotels.
I don't think I would like to see that. I think that would be very traumatic.
Yeah.
Especially, in a place like, in Vegas, for example, there's a crazy places.
Even the expensive elite hotels.
Yeah,
especially
have
I don't.
humans in there.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw even, an apartment I'm renting right now. When I saw the mattress, I'm like, what happened in here?
Someone got murdered.
Like, I'm pretty sure I think they had somebody who rented it had a baby, maybe. So, and I'm like, okay, I need like 3 covers on top. Because even the cleaning services could not, get rid of the stains. Yeah.
One time I lived in an apartment in Las Vegas and it smelled really raunchy. And so I asked around, I said, why does this closet smell bad? And she
Were
said,
you sure you wanted to know the answer?
yeah, really. It happened so that the previous tenant died.
Oh my God.
She died in the apartment and it just reeked.
I have I have a very sad story, but I'm just quickly.
I've seen your post today.
Yesterday, I went outside the apartment. It was this horrible smell, and I was even worried that somebody might have died, and it turned out to be true. So there was
person.
Yeah, and apparently he's been there. He used to live alone, so apparently it happened a while ago, and then the heat, because the neighbors only found out, because of the smell and the flies. And they called the police. Police opened the door, but they left him inside because they were waiting for somebody to take him, to the morgue. And only at midnight, he was taken away because I could see from the window, the black bags and everything. So and now I was coming, here to record the podcast, and the door is open. So they didn't close
really
it.
Sad. I mean,
Yeah,
the person doesn't have anybody to.
Well, yeah, or maybe he has relatives, but it's one day is enough.
And it's so undignified. You would think that when we die, we shouldn't stink.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
everything that happens.
I mean, it's
after-
natural.
Yeah,
but
we shouldn't have to attract flies and bugs. And
Yeah,
worms.
so that's
we should stay beautiful and I don't know.
Stay beautiful, like in a
not stink
gown
at least.
and long flowing hair. Yeah.
He was just unlucky, to be alone for one day in this heat is all it takes. Yeah, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
But things happen. People die in their apartments sometimes. Yeah, they have a whole word for that in Japan because that's a very common thing in Japan. And the thing, if I'm not mistaken, the houses are built in such a way that sometimes you don't even feel the smell because of the thick walls of something. And they would come in at the moment when there is like an outline of a person already. So that's a very big problem in Japan of people dying alone. Yeah,
I mean, probably because they live really long and
I
they
don't
just
know. I
get
don't know.
lonely.
But yeah. So what about? We've talked about the best places we've stayed or we've lived in. What about the worst place
Well,
we've stayed
what I
in?
described were kind of like the worst places.
Yeah, that sounds like it. That sounds like it.
Being single and having to pay rent by yourself, you don't have a lot of choices.
You don't.
Yeah.
Really.
So I always made the best of it and endured a lot.
I believe you.
I know.
Especially in the US where rent sometimes is insane. It is insane. because let's say Novosibirsk is more or less affordable. I mean, even if you can't rent, a studio just for yourself, you can rent a room with, or let's say an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment together with somebody. And, the conditions can be quite good. So, but in the US, God, I saw what's on the market. Oof, 1,000 for a room. Like one room. Are you crazy? Yeah. Natalie, what about you? The worst place?
The worst. I think probably it was in China. I mean, I didn't have to pay for it because the school paid for it. But it was like the worst part of it was that there were no windows.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I mean, there were actually, but so it was made like this. So it was like a living room, and oh God, how to say? So it was like a shower, a bath, and there was a kitchen. So and there were windows in the bathroom actually, which is kind of funny.
Okay, but not in the living room.
Exactly, because it was like
sure. Why would you need window
exactly.
in the sure,
So but there was a balcony actually, so which was pretty nice.
Okay,
so that bathroom with the window faced other bathrooms with their window, right?
No, that was actually a temple, so it's even funnier, I guess.
Yeah, I sometimes feel weird when there are windows, in a bathroom, because you want to make sure you have good curtains, or
Yes,
like
exactly.
something else.
Yeah.
Maybe not the curtains, but how do you call these things?
Shades.
The shades.
yeah.
The shades. So yeah, I always felt a little bit uncomfortable with that, to be honest. Especially when it's not just because I used to live in a house where there was a window in the bathroom, and it was next to so you were taking a bath and there was a window. Like
That's the worst.
And it was the first floor.
Oh God.
So it was very uncomfortable. I always had a feeling, that even though I knew that you couldn't see anything from the outside because I checked, I always had a feeling that if it was in the evening, you could still see the shadow of a person. I was like, I don't want
Well, that came true for me. I was living on the first floor or the ground floor of a cheap apartment. And I was in my bathroom and I sneezed, as we do in the bathroom.
Bless you. Yeah.
And exactly. Someone in the driveway said, Gesundheit, or bless you. I was so mad. I was so mad.
Oh God, that's one thing I don't like about some apartments. When the walls are so thin, you can hear everything, even things you don't want to hear. Like, I wish I couldn't hear that. Yeah. Oh God. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever lived in a dorm?
Actually, no.
I lived in the YMCA in New York City for a summer. Yeah, that's kind of like a dorm.
What does it stand for?
Y. Yeah, youth. M, men, C, Christian, A, association.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. What was it like? What were the conditions like?
I have to say, it was not a dorm. They were little rooms, but we all shared the same dorm-like showers. So a series of showers all in one room.
Okay. Natalie, you're a local, so you never had to.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucky
But you have. Right?
Oh, yes. After living for 4 years in a Novosibirsk dorm,
Oh my God.
I am not afraid of anything.
So when you say a dorm, you're talking about multiple beds lined up.
Yes. Well, I mean, what I mean is in our dormitories, it was a corridor, and then each room had 4 people in it.
Okay. I see.
So, usually it was 2 bunk beds. So let's say in my room, it was 1 bunk bed, 2, just ordinary beds, a table for cooking, 1 desk for 4 people, right? It's just the right
And
amount
a
of desks you
university,
need, right?
Yeah, who needs to study?
1 wardrobe, again for 4 girls, right? And each of us got a shelf. Wow, what a luxury!
But you were young
4
then,
years.
right? Not that you're not young now, but you were young back then.
Oh yeah, 16.
Okay, so don't you think that's exciting for a 16?
17.
That's kind of young.
I
But
mean,
it's exciting.
It was exciting, but also I was not fully ready for that, I would say. So, and luckily I had good roommates. Like, we always help, apart from one of them, but luckily she left from the first year. because she graduated. So, but, you know, we tried to help each other. We sometimes cooked together, and we had no, fights or arguments about space. So let's say the desk fitted two people. So, you know, we usually would take turns who would sit at the desk, who would do the homework, somewhere else.
That's
So
crazy.
a lot of people did the homework, on their beds. So things like that. Well, we had to. Next to our room was the kitchen. So each floor was divided into two wings, the small wing and the large wing. I was lucky enough to live in the small wing. Why lucky? Because both of the wings have the same conditions, meaning I can call it a bathroom, but it basically is 5 basins. No showers, basins, just basins on each floor, in each wing. 5 toilets. And in the kitchen, there were 3 stoves. But now small wing had all that for 80 people. Large wing had all that for 160 people.
Oh.
And you cannot imagine what sharing 5 toilet stalls is like with 160 people. It was brutal.
Yeah.
No way.
Honestly, it was so bad. And the thing is that, I'm sorry for saying that, but the toilets during the weekend were not cleaned.
Yeah.
So you would have, I would have any opportunity not to go there. It was horrible. And then the kitchen was cleaned by the students. So we had a schedule.
Oh.
So, and let's say in the small wing, you clean it after other people, after the whole day, you wash the floors, you wash the stoves, everything. But once we saw what it was like in the large wing, God, I would not like to live there. And then the showers.
Oh my God.
So, for example, what I love my American dorm for, and I love when students complain about that because I'm like, oh, my sweet summer children, let me tell you about, a Russian dorm. Because in there, let's say in the US, you come to a shower, you have a curtain or you have a door. Not in Russia, because you have 10 shower stalls, opposite them. So 20 shower stalls, no doors.
Oh.
Very communal feeling. So you see everybody sees you. And I have no idea what kind of upbringing some of the people had, some of the girls had. Because some of them would put, I'm sorry, their pads, they would stick them to the walls.
Oh my God.
I was like, Jesus, why? Do you have any sense of, common decency?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Oh God, it was so horrible. I've seen things I wish I could unsee, really. And you can imagine what it was like. It was 20 shower stalls for 800 girls in the dorm.
Oh my impossible.
So in the evening, and it was only open from 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. and not working on Monday. And I do not know if you remember, but we had physical education on Mondays.
Oh my God, that's awful.
So after that, you were all sweaty, but you couldn't take a shower because it's not working. So you would have a bucket of water and just try to wash yourself in the room, trying to hide behind the wardrobe.
Sounds like, I don't know, like prison or something, really.
So after that, no matter what conditions I lived in, it was like summer camp. So great.
Oh God.
Well, I lived in a dormitory. Well, we called it a squad bay in the military.
Oh,
so
were you in the military?
Yeah, I was in the military.
Whoa!
So when we were in boot camp, we'd have a squad bay. But and this was a lot of recruits, but everything was really clean and organized. So everything was.
Is it like one large space and just bunk beds?
Yes. And there were 70 of us. So it would be a big squad bay and then the bunk beds lined up.
How long were you in the military?
2 years.
Oh, not so long.
Wow. But still, it's a long.
Yeah, still cool. I think nice experience.
So wait, does that mean that you're a veteran?
It does mean I'm a veteran. So veteran means kind of different. When we think of veteran, we think of someone who's actually fought in a war, but literally, technically, a veteran is someone who's just been in the military.
Who's been in the military, yeah. We have a little bit different notion of that here in Russia and in the US, yeah. Wow, Barbara.
But that was a dormitory. And that was nothing like what you've described.
I think, again, I think that's just what we used to calling that. Maybe it's better to call that a student residence than in my case.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a more accurate, that would not lead to confusion. So a student residence.
when we called, once we got on base, then we had dormitories, and it's what you were describing, maybe 2 or 4 in one room sharing it. So that would be a dormitory situation.
Let's say at Wellesley, we also call that like a dorm. Like what dorm are you in, or a student residence?
Right,
so
a
both
big
of them.
building, and then you've got these series of rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dorm.
So, yeah. And yeah, with our university, it was just, corridors and then rooms, and 4 people in each. And it was co-ed. So, which was really funny because, so you can imagine first years, like we were 17, 18, I was 16. And then common kitchen. So you would be cooking something. And then it was so adorable. There were guys, 18, 19, who were like, girls, do I put eggs in a boiling water or cold water? How do I make this? How do I do that? And you're like, okay, let me show you. Yeah.
Oh, you fell for it. Oh, let me show you.
Well, I mean, otherwise they would have burned, the kitchen and we were the ones to clean it after them.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. And sometimes, what I loved about living in there is that if you had absolutely no money, because, student life didn't always have the money. So when you had almost nothing to eat, your roommates would always help.
Oh, yeah.
So they would always, give you some food. You would never starve, So, and sometimes you could, swap something, like, let me help you with this, like trade in for some food.
Survival.
Yeah. But fun experience, very fun experience. Yeah. 4 years of that. In my 5th year, I moved out and I moved in with my sister. So we started to rent a condo together. So,
well, what about roommates? I mean, you've got to have the perfect roommate, right? Whether you're in a dormitory or a condo or wherever.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of difficult. It's kind of an intimate situation. And if you got
for example, in my 5th year, because at the beginning of the year, I started to live in a dorm and then I decided to move out. We had a roommate and we had to make her move out of our room because she, this situation when somebody, especially, like teenagers or somebody, they get out of their parents' control, so they go nuts and they go wild. Yeah. That's what she did. 1 month later, she got STD. And we're like, honey, you're moving out of here or we write a complaint and you're getting kicked out of the dorm at all. Like, and you'll have to find a place to live. Like, it's your problem, because nobody wanted to, to get STD because we shared, the dishes, we shared the plates, the forks. We're like, don't even dare to touch anything right now. Because,
But at least she told you. I mean,
not that she did, actually.
Yeah,
okay, you live 4 girls,
right.
4 girls in one room. It's like 4 FBI agents. We find things out. So, well, that's why I like, American dorms, because they're way nicer. Yeah. Of course, I lived in an old building. So let's say Wellesley was built like 100 years ago. I had centipedes, but I mean, it's an old building. They're harmless. 2 eyes, so more or less natural.
2 eyes, but 100 legs.
100 legs, yes. 100 legs is a little bit, but they're more or less fine. So, And what about interiors? So let's now think of places you've lived in. So what kind of interiors do you prefer? How do you prefer to decorate your room or your apartment?
I really like something minimalistic, with not a lot of decorations. And
that's going to come in handy when you get a mortgage and you don't have to buy a lot of things. Furniture is expensive these days.
No. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of, when there are a lot of colors, it kind of makes me feel claustrophobic or something like that. So, but I like decorations, like, for example, I used to live in an apartment in Scotland, and there were, the walls were actually painted. There was an artist who lived before us there, and there was like a swan painted on the walls, and in another one there was a panda or something like that.
Aww.
Yeah, also painted on the wall. And it was like really beautiful, and the color of the walls was like turquoise, something like that. It was like really beautiful, and the design was pretty simple, but these walls, they were kind of, emphasizing their simplicity. And I think that's what I prefer. Or something like, in a really countryside style, something like again really
like
simple.
rustic style.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like.
So would you like to have like dark wood or something like that, or more of a light wood, or no wood at all?
I think probably light wood because it's kind of, I don't know, it just looks pretty. I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
So something like that, probably.
I lived in a house, the bungalow with the cockroaches and the raccoons.
That one.
And yeah, that one. The kitchen and what I called it my studio was this very dark wood, and it was so depressing. I'm so against dark wood, but I love wallpaper and lace, as I say. So I think if I were to decorate something more like Victorian, and I actually do remember living in a Victorian house in San Francisco at one time, and it's with those wonderful bay windows that have an alcove. You have a pillow where you could sit and look out, and the window is three-dimensional, three-sided. So it sticks over the street, so you could see in the front and all the sides. So that's a really nice wood and beautiful. I love the hardwood floors, though. I love hardwood floors.
Yes. Yeah, we also had it in Scotland, and it's creaking sometimes, but it's lovely.
Yeah, it's kind of friendly.
Yeah.
As long as no one's creaking over you. If you're
It's like one interior or one style that I don't really like is the typical Soviet style, which would include a lot of carpets everywhere, rugs on the walls.
That looks so strange to
I don't
us.
understand it really, like why?
No one does. We don't ask questions, I think, like we just accept it. Still lots of carpets, lots of rugs. And I think what I wouldn't like to have, no offense to my mom, whom I love really much, but it's this style of hoarders, all the statuettes, all the souvenirs you've got over over your whole life.
Yeah.
Even, the cheapest and the ugliest one. When my parents were moving from Yakutsk to here, I'm like, why are you carrying like this? Of course, there are some, that have some emotional value, but I'm like, you don't even remember who got you this. Maybe some colleague you didn't even like because it's so cheap and ugly. She's like, well, I don't know. It was given to me, so I'm not going to throw it away.
And they just put it on the fridge, or anywhere else in the apartment.
She has like a whole cupboard with shelves for those things.
Oh my god!
So she has
explains things to me, because I was wondering. Because when I'd see these TV shows on Russian TV, Ruski Roman, they always are in these dachas and these so many things.
So it's very Soviet. I think it's like a part of the culture maybe. So there are a lot of people who are, well, not really hoarders, but they do not throw things away.
They just collect things like anything.
Yeah.
But it has something to do with the carpet on the walls, has something to do with the freezing.
Actually, no. I've heard that carpets used to be like really expensive. Like, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Exactly. And they were like, look, I have a carpet on the floor. I don't know.
Let's not use it on the floor.
Yes, exactly. So I've heard this theory actually.
Well, that's actually sounds more like it, because since we have central heating, it's always hot in winter.
Oh gosh.
So we have no problem with that being cold. Even in Yakutia, there was always quite hot. So, but that's
the hoarder look. Yeah, it's a perfect expression.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think my mom has like more than 100 different statuettes and things and stuff like that. She used to even have things like, like candles which were given to her like as a gift. I'm like, candles are for burning them. She's like, well, I don't know. I feel like,
pretty.
I'm like, give them to me. I'm going to burn. I love candles. I love them.
Yeah, burn them.
So, and no.
Yeah, actually, my grandma, she still has like, carpets like on the walls.
Yeah.
And every time I come to her, it's like,
oh, at least my mom doesn't have that. At least she doesn't have that. But all the statuettes, she still does. And that's what I like different, decorations and statuettes, but when they fit into the interior, when there are not too many and they are not,
tiny and
too colorful, because sometimes you look at them and your eyes hurt because there are so many different colors and they're so tiny and big. You're like, whoa, too bright.
Yeah,
so,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I would like to have some decorations which would fit the interior somehow.
And not too many.
So
little bit.
Nothing that would distract, too much.
If you have to dust, and if you have cats, they like to knock stuff over.
Oh, yes.
Well, that's the thing. You have to plastic.
Even better.
I mean, they can knock it off all they want. Just pick it back up. But I love the videos of cats, who just jump and they look at you and you're like, don't. And they're like, like, what you gonna do?
Before I went on Facebook, I did not know that my cats were the same as other cats of the world cats. I thought my cats were just special. And I would see how they behaved. And I think, okay, they're just driving me crazy, just to drive me crazy. And then when I saw all these videos, I thought, oh, that's how cats are.
Before you went on Facebook, you never knew how many millions of videos of cats existed out there.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So what about renovation? So have you ever done a renovation yourself, with a wallpaper maybe or something like that?
I don't know, really. Probably not.
So when you have
I will have a chance, definitely.
Yeah, that's studio. No, I have a question then. So are you going to try to do that yourself, maybe with the help of your friends and parents, or are you going to have it done by professionals?
I don't know. That's a long kind of story. So we're kind of selling one apartment and we're going to trade it like into 2 studios. And when I was saying about mortgage, it's like I'm going to pay the kind of difference. So like to have 2 studios.
Well, you still have to think about what you want to see inside.
Yes, exactly. But I've been thinking maybe I will get, like already done apartment, condo. Yeah. Okay. So
a little bit of cheating.
I hope for that.
Okay.
I hope for that.
All right.
Really. So only furniture, only some design, and all this stuff like that.
Yeah. So. Well, I painted. I was telling you about the dark wood. I decided that I put up a piece of white paper and I said, okay, this makes sense. If these walls were light, it would be brighter in here. So I got buckets of bright pink.
Oh my goodness.
Very bright pink. And it took me about 3 or 4 days to paint because I had to do a lot of layers of painting. But I really enjoyed painting that week. And of course, the bright pink made me happy. And then
bright pink, really?
Yeah, because it was it was for my studio. It had I painted my ballet bars pink and everything. Yeah, it was for my studio. Painted the floors white. So it was
perfect. I can imagine. It must look really beautiful.
Yeah. Cats liked it. I liked it.
Cats liked it. That's how you know it was a success.
Priorities.
Yeah, I'm a little bit afraid of like doing all the renovation myself because I think like one mistake and I mean I've put the wallpaper when I was living in a student residence because when we moved in our first year, it was 2 days before the studying started, so it was really illogical. Like, why would you make students move in 2 days before all of the studying process started? So, and there were 4 types of wallpaper over there, and so it was so old. A lot of that was just staped, so you wouldn't just fall off. So we got through the year, but next year, since we were the second, we were sophomores, so we moved in 5 days before everything started. So, and we changed the wallpaper. But since neither my roommate nor I had any experience in that, that looked ridiculous.
Yeah, professional wall hangers.
Yeah, but poor students, so didn't have much choice. So it was like, well, luckily we just bought simple beige wallpaper, but still sometimes it would go to the side and like, okay, we'll try to. And you know how you have to like roll it so there are no bubbles of air onto them. Well, we didn't manage to do that. So there were like bubbles of air everywhere. Like,
so it's textured wallpaper.
Yeah. Specific design,
Yeah. Anti-stress. You could, try to bust the bubbles.
Exactly.
But also, it's a student residence, so either that or having something else which is horrible. Oh, I have forgot to mention about that lovely room and the dorm. So since right next to us was the kitchen, so, there was a kitchen, next room was ours. We had a lovely family of mice.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sometimes I would come in and my roommate would be like, wash the cup. I'm like, it's clean. I washed it in the morning. She's like, no, there was a mouse in it. I'm like, how lovely. And we asked, the I don't even know how to call that person, a person who's responsible for the dorm, who controls it. So we have a special person for that. And we went there and we were like, we have mice. She's
like the house mom.
Okay, that actually sounds nice. Although she was not in any way a nice lady, I'm afraid. But she's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, get something? I'm like, but she's like, get the poison. I'm like, we can't get the poison because we have a hole in the wall. And sometimes mice, they migrate through the building. And if it dies in the wall,
oh my God,
or in the ceiling, the smell is going to kill us. She's like, well, I don't know. So we just got a mouse trap, and that's how we found out there were 8 of them. That was
not bad.
Yeah, they live in the walls, and then the unfortunate thing is that they can do a lot of damage to electrical wires.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so
and
you can't just,
dangerous. I mean, you could burn down.
Yeah, they ate a lot of food as well, yeah.
Yeah, so they're fat and happy.
Yeah, 8 of them. A happy family. Big family, yeah.
Oh.
All right. So, and tell me, what would be your dream house or dream apartment maybe?
Oh,
so let's dream a little bit. What kind of a place? How many bedrooms?
I think we've spoken about it a little bit before. I don't remember what podcast it was. One of them anyway. So,
I think it was when we were talking about living in other countries, and we were like, where would we like to live? But it was more about the country.
Yeah. It was just a little bit of that.
Like a continent or a country. Now let's get more specific into that.
Just about a house, yeah.
Well, what is your idea?
Yeah, actually, you start.
I think I would like to, first of all, for a long time, I couldn't decide whether I would like to live in a house or in an apartment. And now I think that I would like to live in an apartment because a house needs way more maintenance.
True.
Way more effort and time and money, with the wires and everything. So that's why I think I would like to live in an apartment, let's say 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, nice, beautiful, big kitchen. And I've recently been to IKEA because remember my idea of reorganizing everything. And I saw there a kitchen, which is, so the counters are light wood, almost white. And then the drawers and everything themselves are white. And all the, the details like the handles, they are gold. And it's such a nice, it has so much light and style. And I think, I would like to have a kitchen like that. A lot of space, maybe, a kitchen island to cook on, a living room, maybe combined with the dining room as well. So, a nice place to eat lunch together with a family, something like that.
Okay,
sounds good.
Since you said that, because I'm pretty happy with what I've got, but if I could have anything, I'd have a bigger bathtub and I would have a window on the east side because I really like the sun coming in. I don't like a dark bathroom. So that would be really important to me.
Yeah. I have been to an apartment once, which was my friend's parents' apartment who lived in Boston. So they had an apartment, first of all, it was in a hotel. So, but they owned it. So if I'm not mistaken. So, and the thing is that they had 2 bedrooms. So one bigger bedroom, one smaller bedroom, like a guest bedroom in their case it was. So 2 bathrooms, one smaller bathroom, just with a basin, like a toilet, a little shower cabin, and a bigger bathroom with 2, and a lot of space, a bathtub with a jacuzzi, a bigger shower stall, and toilet, but behind doors, but it was big.
Not a jacuzzi because you cannot clean.
Not a jacuzzi.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because those big, deep tubs, you cannot clean them.
Oh, really?
They're really difficult to clean.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to take a bath,
if you had a maid or someone to clean it, but it's hard.
Yeah, well, maybe, that's my dream. So I would like to be able to afford somebody to clean
you
that.
have to have someone to clean it.
I don't mind, being able to afford that. Yeah. And a place to work. So some kind of maybe like a nice big desk, a library. So some place like that.
Yes, library. Yeah,
and a balcony, like a big balcony where I could put a rocking chair. So I could, a little table to the side. So I could sit in that rocking chair and read a book and maybe have
you're
some.
Too young for that, probably,
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I used to my mom has a rocking chair and I wanted to take it because she doesn't need it. She's like, take it. But I don't have enough space. But I love sitting in there and just, just reading a book.
They take up space with those big rockers. And
yeah, you need a lot of space
you
for
need
that.
space to rock. Yeah.
Like actual rocking chair, like with this.
Yeah. It's big. Yeah, it takes a lot of space. Because at first I thought maybe I can put it into my balcony. I looked at my balcony. I'm like, oh, not even a half of that would fit over here. So that would be.
Wherever I live, I always have a studio space. Always with a bar and a mirror and a space. Of course, I don't have a bar and mirror here, so I'm lacking at that. But that's a necessity. I have to have space where I can do my craft.
Yeah,
you're talking about a desk or a place to work, but that would be my work, a studio.
Well, I cannot even imagine you being in a space, in some kind of an apartment with too much stuff, and nowhere to turn around.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all my
doesn't
stuff
sound
is
like
kind
you.
of shoved to the corner so I can have space.
Okay, I think it's my turn, to describe the perfect house. So as I've mentioned before, like in the previous podcast, which you can listen to, obviously. Yeah.
It's an episode about living and working in other countries. Yay.
Yes, thank you. So I've mentioned that I'd like to live somewhere next to the water, sea, river, lake, maybe, something like that. Ocean, maybe. I don't know, really. So and it must be a house, definitely, not an apartment, not a condo. Okay, something like, I don't know, something comfy, not really big, like a cottage probably. Yeah, and it must be somewhere maybe far from the city, maybe, but I don't know really because it might get me bored. And
so you still, struggling to decide
whether you want
all the hustle and bustle or whether you want the fresh air and the quietness. I know the feeling.
But there must be, a lawn and a lot of trees. I don't know, something like that. And water,
I've also realized that since I want to live in a condo/apartment, I would like that to be in a one of those complexes where you have, let's say, a gym on in one floor, and maybe
I want that in my house, just for me.
Yeah. So, because I find that really, convenient especially when it's only for residents. So, and I've seen pictures of. So I follow a girl on Instagram. She's a Russian, but she lives in. I don't remember the name of the town, but it's in New Jersey. So, and they rent an apartment and it has a gym on one floor, a little coffee shop on the ground floor. And then on the roof, they have, like a patio or something like that. So a place to have fire.
Exactly.
And since it's New Jersey, they have New York skyline to look at. And I think that's fantastic because it's not New York prices. It's New Jersey prices. And you get to see the Manhattan skyline. God.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had in Thailand. Again, going back to Thailand. So there was this roof and there were kind of, there was a table, there were some chairs. You could also sit there, have a snack, coffee, I don't know, someone else if you want to. And there was a gym as far as I remember. So... it's really cool.
I think that would definitely motivate me, to finally start working out.
Okay, so I've got the big bathtub on the east side and a studio. Then this place would be situated on some land, animal rescue. So I would have lots of people helping animals. That's what I would love.
So would you love to live in a city then or in a rural?
No, I guess in the rural area, I wouldn't really need the city, really.
Yeah.
What would I need the city for? What would I need?
Have you ever thought about, maybe you have lived on a farm?
Oh, whoa.
Or maybe close to a farm?
Yeah. But the animal rescue places, they help animals.
They do.
That are protected and need protecting and care. And I'd really love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
That's what I loved about living in the U.S., at least at Wellesley, because... it's a really small town and on campus there are so many animals. Like this was the first time that I actually saw, I forgot the name of a bird. It has, so they say that it delivers babies,
Oh, right, a stork.
A stork, yeah. I saw one. Like I was passing by, through a little forest at Wellesley, and I saw this. I'm like, is it is it like plastic paper? Because sometimes they put on it because it was not moving at all. I'm like, are you real? I'm not real. Maybe it's just a decoration, but it looks real, like decoration just... So, and I like, okay, decoration. I started moving and then I saw it, move a little bit. And I just looked at it like, so are you real? And I just saw it was not moving and then it blinked. I'm like, you are real.
Do you know that they have lifelong mates? A boy and a girl will stay together for their whole life, 20, 30 years, because they live a long time. And then the male will have to fly away because that's their pattern. And then the girl stork will wait for her partner to come back. Yeah, it's amazing. Storks are amazing.
Life goals. The only type of fauna that I can't say that I did not like them. I just did not trust them a little bit, were the geese. Because on our campus, you would walk and there would be like a company of like 30 geese. And, they are peculiar.
So they're aggressive, right?
Oh, yes. And I would just look at them like, okay, I'll take a detour. And I would just go around the building because they can be quite aggressive sometimes. I don't trust, especially in the spring when they have the the babies, the little ducklings, not the ducklings. How do you call the little
gosling,
geese?
Right? The gosling.
The gosling, yeah. So yeah,
but they're kind of protective, and they have to. Yeah, I understand.
It's funny that in Massachusetts you can't do anything to the geese because technically they belong to Canada. They are Canadian geese flying over.
What?
So yeah, they belong to Canada. That's why geese feel, superior. Like, what you're gonna do to us? We're can't Canadian. Do anything. Yeah, but they look great though. With the looking and swans. I like the swans as well.
Isn't it amazing how dirty they are though? You think of a white swan. Oh, they're so dirty from the water.
Really?
I've never seen.
And have you ever seen them walk on land? They're completely awkward and pigeon-toed. They're like, that's so unattractive.
But they still, they look gracious. Yeah. At least in the water,
Yes, in the water.
The long legs.
Only.
Yeah. They are adorable. And bunnies. There are so many bunnies. I actually know some people who live in, I think it was in Mississippi and in Utah and somewhere else. And they posted pictures on their way to campus and they were like deer, especially, like baby deer. I'm like, Bambi. They're like, yeah, you go into work. It's like, being in a Disney movie, like reindeer, not reindeer, but deer, just being around. That's so nice. Yeah. That's nice. And actually I want to know what is a dream housing of our listeners. So please, you can even attach, pictures from Pinterest. I love seeing, all that and finding out what other people would love to have. And that's why I love this topic in my classes like so much. And if you have any stories about cool places you've stayed or you've lived in and horrible places you've stayed or you've lived in, also share. We would really love to talk to you and to discuss these situations. Yeah. All right. Well, Barbara, Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Discussing one of my favorite topics. Why didn't we have it like way earlier? I don't know, really. All right. So thank you for listening. And remember, if you struggle to understand our conversation, you're always welcome to our website, which is bigappleschool.com/podcast. You can find full scripts of each episode there and you can read them while listening. They're very interactive, where the script just like pops up with our pictures next to it. So it's really fun to see. Also, if you want to get more content which will help you learn English, you can follow us on any social media where you are, be that Instagram, VK, YouTube, Telegram. Just search our name, which is again, Big Apple School. So that was Katja, and my guests for today were
Barbara
and
Natalie.
Stay tuned and we'll see you around.